Jeri, can you tell me how you came to Long Beach Island?
Yes, my parents were actually living on Long Beach Island when I was born, which was back in 1957. They were living and renting on Amber Street. And I guess on my third birthday, they were able to move to Ninth Street. I had an aunt and uncle, Irene and Ben Kosef, owners of Kosef's and eventually Pier 18, which you may have heard of. And they bought up 4 plots of land. And my parents took one of the lots, which backed right up to Taylor Avenue, where my uncle was. So we lived back to back right there in Beach Haven. And that's where I grew up. So I've always been a part of Long Beach Island.
How would you how would you describe life as a Jew on LBI, thinking about when you were a child and over, of course, your years growing up and now as an adult?
Growing up on Long Beach Island, being Jewish was a real rarity. When I was going to Southern Regional High School, which at that time there was only one building for grades 7 to 12, their population was about 2,000 people, and there were only two of us, two Jewish people, my friend Beth Hallam and me. In 2,000 people. So growing up as a child on Long Beach Island, I want to say that I was really immersed in a lot of interfaith because all my friends were not Jewish. We didn't have a Jewish presence there. And that gave me a real opportunity to get a feel for other religions and, in terms of understanding and diversity. I loved it. I loved it. It was a very positive experience for me. I mean, when I say immersed in other opportunities, we had a wonderful Methodist church right there in Beach Haven, and there was I can remember as a kid playing guitar in a Catholic folk mass with my friends. So it was very interesting to be Jewish. It also gave my friends a bit of an insight into what our life was like. And so very accepting back then, and very, tolerance was wonderful. It was a great experience growing up, on the island being Jewish.
And how would you describe some of your more recent experiences as a Jew on LBI?
I think we have been very fortunate because of our partnership with St. Francis and, the churches down in Barnegat Light, and our rabbi's been wonderful reaching out to the interfaith service that we would do each spring. Even the classes are, again, interfaith. We have a lot of non-Jewish people who do come to services and enjoy learning about some of the history of the religion. And so it's wonderful. I think we are unique that we have that opportunity.
Can you tell me about your initial involvement with the JCC? Perhaps what it was like when there wasn't a JCC on the island, and then what inspired the creation of one?
Yes. All right. So I was there actually from the beginning, before the very first JCC was built. My parents were best friends with Maurice and Edna Hallam, Mike and Edna Hallam. I even called them aunt and uncle. Growing up, they started having services at their house in Beach Haven. And we would go, to their home and conduct services until they were able to put enough money together to build the first JCC. So I was kind of in it on the ground floor. And the first, JCC that finally got built is very different from the JCC we know now. In one respect, it was just summers only. We were just a summertime Jewish community center because we had the population in the summer to sustain it. and we had a lot of snowbirds, which obviously we still do now. But back then it was a summers only, and I got involved as a child coming to the JCC. They had a teen night, like game night. So we were able to come and meet other Jewish kids and play games and share stories. And, you know, obviously for the adults, they had bingo at the JCC. As a matter of fact, my brother ran the bingo at the time he was president. So I got, you know, very involved in, as a kid, watching him being involved. I, as an adult, was on the board, probably one of the very first ones. I had moved away from New Jersey to go to college and for my job, but when I came back, I got on the board, and I was on the board for years as my kids were growing up. So I've been very involved with the JCC. That's how I initially got involved. My parents were involved. They built the sukkah back then, and you know, my mother was a very, very active woman in a lot of community activities, including she was one of the ones that initially got our hospital built. She was involved in fundraising to get our hospital there, but she was also very, very important. She and the Hallems and the Snyders, Richie and Billy Snyder, from Snyder I Group, they were part of the original group that got the JCC up and running. So that's how I initially got involved.
What inspired this lifelong involvement with the JCC? From what you've just described, you've been involved in different positions at different times in your life. So yes. What are some of the things that inspired?
The people. I love the people there. I have lifelong friends that are there. I would, you know, besides getting involved, sisterhood was a very big part of getting me involved. Rose Starr was involved in the kitchen, and I can remember working with her and baking, and just you know, the different rabbis that have come and gone. There's been so many good memories from being there. My children, they were bar and bat mitzvah there. My husband converted to Judaism after many years of marriage. He decided that he enjoyed the customs and the religion, and felt that that was something that was very important to do. And so he, Rabbi Nunberg helped him to convert. And we took classes together for a couple years there. I would say walking into the sanctuary, I feel very, I look at the stained glass, I look at the Yortzeit plaques, and it very, I can relate to them, because a lot of those Yortzeit plaques on the wall, those aren't just plaques, those were people I knew, people that we used to pick up and bring to bingo, people I sat on the board with. So I am very attached, my history, to the JCC, and always will be for that. And I have my place on the wall for myself and for my husband. When the time comes, we're going to be right there, and someone will be turning the light bulbs for us one day. So yeah, a lot of favorite things about the JCC are there. Remember, you know, cooking in the kitchen with getting ready for the bazaars. As a matter of fact, Don Pripstein had me take on his, I actually ran the bazaars for a couple of years, and that was a lot of fun. Watching my kids grow up and learn their Hebrew lessons and getting bar and bat mitzvah, that was a fun memory. the Passover dinners that were held there. Lots of great memories there. My favorite memories, I guess, would be the people. You know,
part of what you've been describing to me is this abundance of relationships that you've formed through the JCC. So I'm wondering, now that we are in the midst of the COVID pandemic and many people are feeling really isolated and separated, how is the JCC helping people to continue to maintain those important relationships?
Well, I'll tell you, their programming and their ability to reach out to the members. Besides being on the board, I eventually became the executive director, the first ever executive director for the JCC. And I love that because it really put me in touch with all the departments and all the daily things that had to run to keep the building going, to keep people going, to keep people aware of what's going on. And I think the JCC has done a wonderful job reaching out to people during this crisis. They've made phone calls. They've used Zoom to the best of their ability so that services could still continue, so that entertainment programs could still continue, so that people could still interact. Even though we are not in the building together, we're still together. So they've done a fabulous job just reaching out to everyone.
Opinion, what are some of the challenges facing the Jewish Community Center in LBI?
I would say, just like any other organization, funding is always a challenge. Keeping membership and numbers of memberships up so that our day-to-day running of all the different functions that we need to keep running. Funding is always, a challenge. And again, our presence on Long Beach Island, and again, the rabbi's done a great job in reaching out to other religious organizations in terms of tolerance and acceptance and, being able to maintain what we have and looking forward, to the future of what we could still, bring to people that come to Long Beach Island in the summers, as well as entertaining people who are here all year round in the winter and finding activities and things that would hold our interest too. So I would say those are probably some of the challenges. I mean, every organization has challenges, and I think those are some of the top ones. Obviously, security is also a major one, and my hope is that we've done a wonderful job. The township police are top-notch, wonderful to work with. I experienced many good meetings with the chief of police and in terms of security, and I would say that in terms of challenges, I think we are in pretty good shape.
I'm wondering, as you look forward to the future, what are some of your hopes for the JCC and for Jews in general on Long Beach Island?
Okay, so thinking of hopes kind of as a wish list, I would hope that we continue to operate safely as we have been doing. And the board has put measures in place so that we can operate safely by Zoom meeting and having the township patrol the buildings. I would love to see, this is my personal, I would like to see the return of the religious school. Our numbers had dwindled, and I would love for a religious school to start up there again. I think that that's very important. I would love to see the continuation of great programming. It's nice to be able to, if we can't be in the building, at least turn on the computer and join with our friends in all the wonderful activities that the women's group and the center has been able to provide us. So I hope that continues. I like that people reach out to each other and continue to enjoy the friendships there. I'm sure they miss the Mahjong games, but I think that they have found other ways to still stay in contact with each other. And I think it's important for the board, the leaders of our JCC, to continue to be productive and especially maintain a positive attitude. You see, so my hope for the future is that they all remain positive and find ways to work well with each other towards common goals, which is to keep our JCC up and running and functioning and a comfortable and calm and beautiful place to be able to go to and sit in that beautiful sanctuary that is decorated so beautifully, and just be a part of the experience of being a Jew on Long Beach Island. And it's a very positive experience. And I'm very fortunate that I can still, be there and have such great memories from the beginning to what it is now and hopefully what it will be.